Bracketed orders are very interesting because they allow you to get kind of the best of both worlds, where you have a target price, let's say, for profit maximization, and a stop type of order to limit your downside losses. And so it basically goes one step further than a trailing stop order, for example. So just like that type of order, with a bracketed order, you set a trailing stop as either a percentage or a fixed amount, below the security price. So you bought a security, maybe as a market order, and now you're going to put in your trailing stop is how you do it. But with a bracket order, you're setting that, but you also, in addition to setting your trailing stop, you're in effect also at the same time establishing an upper limit that when reached will result in the security being sold, so kind of like a target. So in effect, you're setting a profit target and downside loss protection at the same time, all in one order. So that's very nice. Well, I don't want to say most, but not all, let me put it this way, not all online brokerages offer bracketed orders, by the way, so don't be surprised if you don't see it offered there. You would just have to basically, use your stops and other types of orders to kind of, in effect, make that happen. But bracketed orders are nice and convenient that way. So let's look at an example. So let's say, here we are, we have this nice uptrend. You'd say you bought at you could buy at a market, or you did buy at a market order for 72.75. That's what was executed. It was at 72.75. Then you're placing a bracketed order to kind of, go around that market order. You're bracketing that market order. And so let's say you have an upper limit of, you decide this, you decide to set an upper limit of 74. That's your target. So you say, well, I want to have an upper target of this, and so I'm going to set at 74 to automatically execute at that if it reaches that upper target. But at the same time, in your bracket, you're setting a trailing stop of whatever percentage or amount. Let's say it was 3, just to use an example. So you'd be setting a 3. So at the current price, it would go, let's say, up to it would be at 69.75 because you'd immediately put in that trailing stop of 3 if it fell down to that. But let's say it went up to 73. Your upper limit wouldn't have been reached. So the sell order to basically book in your profit would not have been reached, but also your trailing stop now would have changed to 70 because it now went up to 73. 3 minus 73. 73 minus 3 is 70. So it would still stay active basically in that example. But let's say what happens is this is what really happened in this particular security. And as you can see, it went up, and the result of this example is you would have sold at 74, right? You set your upper limit at 74. As it turned out, on that long top upper shadow there, it did get to 74, and at that point, boom, it turns into a market order, and you're selling at the 74. Note that if let's say you had set your upper level was 76, then nothing would have been executed because you had never reached that upper target, and the trade still would have been active until, in this example, it would have come back down and then be executed at 71.5, right? So because you still have that trailing number there. And again, if you didn't want to have a target or upper order, bracket, then you wouldn't place a bracket order. You would just place a stop order to minimize your downside, and then you wouldn't have to worry about having a target hit, maybe before you wanted it to be hit. But the idea is, if you're trading a security and you know kind of the range of that security, and you're comfortable with that, maybe it's in like some type of chart pattern, like a rectangle or something, you can put that upper and that lower limits by putting in a bracketed order.